Alien 3 wasn't just a sci-fi sequel. It was the most hated movie by its own creator, filled with shaved heads, molten lead, and a terrifyingly intelligent predator. But behind the industrial gloom, a war was raging between the director and the studio. Scripts were being faxed to the set on the day of shooting. A director was fired for wanting a planet made of wood, and the visual effects team was failing to make a Whippet dog look like a killing machine. These are 15 creepiest facts about Alien 3, and buried in the rejected drafts, the Xenomorph wasn't an alien at all, but an airborne virus that turned barnyard animals into monsters. Number 1. The movie was almost set on a wooden planet. Before the filmmakers settled on a bleak prison, Alien 3 was going to take place on a planet made entirely of wood. Director Vincent Ward pitched a wild concept called Arion, which was a massive wooden satellite orbiting Earth, populated by monks who hated technology. The idea was to create a visual clash between the futuristic, metallic alien and a medieval world made of glass, wood, and candles. The studio actually loved the idea at first and even started building the expensive wooden sets. However, they eventually realized a wooden planet in the vacuum of space made zero scientific sense and fired the director. That's why the prison looks strangely gothic and cathedral-like. It was originally designed to be a monastery. Number 2. The ending was changed because of Terminator 2. The original ending of Alien 3 was very different from what you saw in theaters. Initially, Ripley was supposed to simply fall backward into the furnace, sacrificing herself to destroy the queen embryo inside her without the monster actually bursting out. However, when studio executives saw this footage, they panicked because it looked too similar to the ending of Terminator 2, where the T-800 lowers himself into molten steel. The problem was that Terminator 2 was directed by James Cameron, the same guy they had effectively replaced for this sequel. Terrified of being accused of ripping off the director they had just lost, the studio spent an extra $500,000 to urgently reshoot the scene. They forced the director to add the Queen Chestburster erupting from Ripley mid-fall just to make it look different from Arnold Schwarzenegger's famous death scene. Number 3. A cultist who worshipped the alien was cut. In the version of the movie shown in theaters, a prisoner named Golik is a minor character who just seems to disappear halfway through the plot. But in the original script and the 2003 assembly cut, he has a massive role that completely changes the story. Golik goes insane and becomes obsessed with the alien, calling it the dragon and worshipping it as a divine entity. The prisoners actually manage to trap the beast in a toxic waste dump, but Golik believes the creature is a god that must be free. He murders a guard and releases the alien back into the facility before it kills him. This crucial subplot explains how the alien escaped capture, a major plot hole that left theatrical audiences confused for over a decade. Number 4. The final monster has a hidden crown. If you pause the movie at the exact moment the chestburster erupts from Ripley at the end, you can see it is not a normal alien. The visual effects team designed it specifically as a queen burster. The puppet has tiny arms, spidery legs, and the beginning of a crest or crown on its head, visually confirming that Ripley was carrying a royal queen embryo. It is a cool detail, but David Fincher actually hated this effect. He felt that having the monster pop out ruined the dignity of Ripley's sacrifice and looked like a cheap horror gag. He was forced to include it by the studio for a money shot, but in the assembly cut, this shot is removed entirely. Number 5. The hypersleep nightmare theory. Because the movie unceremoniously killed off Newt and Hicks, many fans refused to accept the story as reality. They developed the hypersleep nightmare theory, which claims the entire movie is just a bad dream Ripley is having while still frozen aboard the spaceship Sulaco. The evidence for this is the strange dream logic of the film, the magical appearance of an egg that shouldn't exist, the surreal gothic nature of the prison, and the fact that the android Bishop suddenly reappears as a human. While this theory isn't official canon, a large subset of the fandom clings to it because it allows them to believe their favorite characters are still alive and that the bleak events of Alien 3 never actually happened. Number 6. The director who hated the movie. The The production was such a disaster that the studio had already built huge sets for the earlier Wooden Planet version of the script, only to scrap it and switch the story to a prison planet at the last minute. David Fincher, directing his first feature film, often received new script pages faxed to the set on the very day of shooting. Adding to the chaos, studio executives literally stood off camera with their arms crossed, monitoring everything he did. The experience became so miserable that Fincher quit before the edit was even completed. He later declared, "No one hates it more than me," and refused to record a commentary for the DVD. He even joked that he hoped the 1992 Los Angeles rioters would burn down the film lab just so his movie would be erased from existence. Number 7. The trailer lied to everyone. When the first teaser trailer for Alien 3 was released, it promised a completely different movie. The trailer featured an image of an alien egg hovering above the planet Earth with the tagline, "On Earth, everyone can hear you scream." Audiences were hyped, believing the franchise was finally bringing the war to our home planet. But it was a total lie. The studio released that teaser before a script was even finalized as a pure marketing trick to sell tickets, leaving fans feeling betrayed when they realized the Earth war they were promised didn't exist. However, in 2025, 33 years after that misleading trailer, this promise finally came true. Through the film Alien Earth, the franchise truly delivered xenomorphs attacking planet Earth, realizing the Earth war scenario long dreamed of by fans. Number 8. The Cold War script where Ripley sleeps. Years before filming started, the studio hired cyberpunk legend William Gibson to write the script, and it was a completely different movie. In his version, it was an action-packed Cold War thriller in space involving a Marxist space union fighting against the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. The most shocking change was that Ripley spent almost the entire movie in a coma, while the heroes of the previous film, Hicks and Bishop, took the lead to fight the aliens. Although William Gibson's script was never filmed, his ideas were eventually adapted into a comic book miniseries by Dark Horse Comics in 2019, allowing fans to see how the story would have continued. Number 9. The bizarre chicken alien script. If you think the final movie is dark, wait until you hear about the Animal Farm script written by Eric Red. This rejected draft took place on a massive space station that had a glass dome filled with cornfields, windmills, and barnyard animals, looking like a piece of Kansas floating in space. In this version, the alien virus infected the livestock, creating ridiculous hybrid monsters like alien pigs and alien chickens. It sounds like a joke, but it was a real attempt at the story. The climax was even crazier. The virus infected the metal of the space station itself, causing the walls to bleed acid and the entire structure to transform into a giant living biomechanical monster. Number 10. The star banned all guns from the movie. One of the biggest changes in Alien 3 compared to the previous action-heavy movie is the total lack of high-tech weaponry. This was not just a creative choice by the writers, but a strict demand from Sigourney Weaver herself. After starring in Aliens, Weaver became a strong advocate for gun control and felt that the series relied too much on Marines blasting everything in sight. She told the producers she would only return to the role if there were absolutely no guns in the story. The writers had to agree to her condition, which is exactly why they set the film on a prison planet where weapons were strictly prohibited. This mandate forced the characters to fight the monster using only flashlights, fire, and tunnels, effectively returning the franchise to its suspenseful horror roots. Number 11. Is the creator a human or a robot? Toward the end of the film, a character appears who looks exactly like the android Bishop, but claims to be his human creator, Michael Bishop Weyland. Fans have argued for years about whether this guy is actually human or just another advanced robot. The evidence for him being human is that when he gets hit in the head with a heavy wrench, he bleeds red blood and screams in genuine pain, which androids in this series typically do not do. However, he also survives a blow to the skull that would likely kill a normal person and stands there talking despite having a catastrophic head injury that revealed his internal wiring. The actor Lance Henriksen insists he played the character as a human, but the movie leaves it totally ambiguous. Number 12. They tried to dress a dog in a monster suit. The production team had a desperate idea to make the alien look faster and more animalistic. Since the creature in this movie was a runner that walked on all fours, the special effects crew decided to dress a real dog in an alien costume. They specifically chose a Whippet, a thin, fast dog breed, and built a custom latex suit to cover its body. The plan was to film the dog sprinting down corridors to create a terrifying effect that a human actor couldn't mimic. It was a disaster. When they filmed the test footage, the dog didn't look like a killing machine. It just trotted around wagging its tail, looking absolutely adorable. Number 13. The director's chair was a revolving door. Before David Fincher was hired, the production was a total mess of hiring and firing different directors. Harlin, the director of Die Hard 2, actually worked on the project for over a year but eventually quit because he felt the series had nowhere to go and couldn't crack the story. The studio also approached horror legend Clive Barker and tried to get original director Ridley Scott back, but neither worked out. The studio also hired and fired Vincent Ward, the visionary behind the Wooden Planet concept. This indecision cost the studio millions of dollars in pay-or-play contracts, meaning they had to pay these directors full salaries even though they never filmed a single frame, causing the budget to balloon before cameras even started rolling. Number 14, an actor got paid a fortune for one photo. Alien 3 brutally kills off the character Hicks in the opening credits, which made fans furious. But the actor, Michael Biehn, got the last laugh. He was never asked to return for the filming, but the studio used a photo of his face for a computer screenshot showing his lifeless body. Biehn was angry that they used his likeness without permission just to kill off his character, and he threatened to sue the studio. To avoid a lawsuit, Fox paid him a massive settlement. Biehn later revealed that he made almost as much money for that single tiny photo in Alien 3 as he did for his entire acting role in the previous Aliens. Number 15. The music was designed to make you sick. The score for Alien 3 sounds terrifying, and that was done on purpose using some very experimental techniques. Composer Elliot Goldenthal wanted to create an atmosphere of pure dread rather than the action-adventure feel of the previous movie. He utilized pitch-bending French horns, which created a warping, distorted sound specifically designed to mimic the feeling of a nightmare or nausea. He also used heavy metal percussion and atonal sounds to reflect the bleak industrial setting of the prison foundry. It was a massive departure from the military-style drums of Aliens, and while it is abrasive, it is now considered a masterpiece of modernist film scoring that perfectly captures the movie's hopeless tone. Alien 3 is a testament to how fragile the filmmaking process really is, shifting from a Cold War thriller to a wooden monastery before finally becoming the prison movie we know today. It leaves us wondering if The Wooden Planet or William Gibson's script would have saved the franchise or made it even stranger. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more lost scripts and horror history, don't forget to like this video, drop a comment below, and subscribe to the channel.